Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's after class tutorial on our Excel masterclass. My name is Gabriel, and I'll take you through this section. Let's get started. On our Excel file today, we remind ourselves of some calculations we did in our previous class. Remember this data where it is very cleaned and we are supposed to have the totals of all quarters and all branches. Remember that shortcut. You select all the data, including the space where you want your answers to be, and you go to your home button. At the extreme right, you see your auto sum function. Under the editing group, auto sum. You just click on auto sum and bingo! All the answers happen within a split of a second. I must say that is not the only way. However, even if you double click one of the answers and see, auto sum brings you the sum function and that's all the calculation for you. Remember, it is all about being efficient, saving time. Aside that, let's see what else that we can do with our formulas. It is not only plus that Excel can do. It can also help you with some basic minus. Remember, it can do all the mathematical operations. But with this section, we concentrate only on how you can subtract or less a figure from another figure. As we discussed earlier, you always start a function with an equal sign. So let's see how this one goes. I put in my equal sign and I select cell B2 minus cell B3 and I hit enter and bingo, the answer comes straight forward with no hassle. So if I need all, I can just go down and just drag on that small button that comes at the down right of the cell and all the answers will be filled. Are we good at this point? Let me take it from another angle. I select all the data, including where I want the answer. I select the data where I want all my answers to be, and I just do my equal to B2 minus B3, and I hit on. Can somebody give it a try? Control Enter. Control Enter repeats all those ones you have in one cell in all the selected area. Let's move on to basic cell formatting. Basic cell formatting, remember the home tab comes in handy. Almost everything you see at the home then can help you do some formatting, basic cell formatting. But however, if you have the data in this particular range, all you have to do is to select the entire range, just like I'm going to do. You select the entire range like this. Then you right click. And as you right click, the dialog box that opens, as you move very down, you're going to see cell, format cell, as my cursor is moving there. You hit on format cell and this dialog box opens. Format cell actually has various types or various categories. There is a number category that deals with date and all that. But there is another way you can also open this dialog box for format cell. You go to where in the home tab under alignment, you are going to see that small down arrow there. If you click on that, it also opens the same format cell. You have various tabs under this format cell dialog box, as you can see. The number category helps you with numbers, date, time, and there are some special formatting you can do. The alignment will help you align your data right, even when you want to place something at the bottom or left or right, or even do a vertical or horizontal alignment with whatever content you have in each of the cells. So bottom up, center can all be done, but under the alignment. If you come to fonts, there are basic things that help. It helps you choose a particular font type, a particular font style, a particular font size, even help you to superscript or underscript and all that. You can even cancel, and that comes in handy under the font. There are so many cool things you can do. Under that, let's look at where you have the borders to do every border, whether you want to place a border on a particular range or that you can do all that from there. You can also fill with colors and obviously do some protection, but that is not part of our class today. Let's see how we are going to do this. I'm going to select my entire the entire data, and I just want to do some basic formatting using the home tab, just like we said. So now I want to place a border. So I just click and in the home tab in border under font group, I just click on border and we have borders here. And let me see, I want to do some use colors to also make my data clearer. So I'm just making sure my heading should always be different from the entire data. And that will give the viewers or the people who are going to consume that data or make decisions based on that data a clear understanding of the entire data. So your subheading should look a little bit also different from the entire data and also different from the heading. So I'm using my gray color. Remember, matured colors always do the magic. Matured colors like the light gray, the light blue, those colors always do the magic. However, the color you choose always depends on the people who are going to make decision on your data. Take note of that. Are we good? Nice one. So I still want to go ahead and do some basic formatting here where I have my total salary. I just want to give it a particular color that is more on the visualization part. Give it a certain color, a certain style. The figures there, I want it to look more like currency. So I'm just going into my home tab where we have the numbers and I'm going to choose a particular currency here. I'm using the dollar. So that looks more, it looks better than what we had before. And I also want to give it a different color so it can, you see, if you compare it to where we were first, how our data looks like and how it looks like now, it is much better. Remember, how you send your report or your final report with decision makers play a key role. So basic formatting like what I'm doing here is very, very important. Am I good? Are we good? Nice one there. Even the borders, I gave it another deep border along all the edge. And there is a reason for that, which I explained already. There is a way the eye works. So if you do that, it really helps. The science behind any data visualization. That will come in our next class. Let's look at conditional formatting. That is where you are formatting your cells, but now based on the condition. So not until a condition is met, the cell will not be formatted. Are we good? Not until a condition is met, a particular cell or range will not be formatted. So let's see how it goes. Still in our home tab, somewhere in the middle under the style group, you see conditional formatting. If you click on the small down arrow by its side, there are various options, very cool things that the conditional formatting can do. They can highlight cell rule, top or bottom rule, the data bars, the color scale, the icons, and all that. To make it even clearer, let's do a little bit practical. So I select the data that I want to put formatting there, and now I choose the highlight cell rule, and I'm going with should I do less than, greater than? So assuming there is a figure that we say when a certain somebody's salary is less than a certain figure, Excel should draw our attention. So we are saying anybody whose salary is less than 4,000, Excel should fill it with color. Let's go with color green. Is that okay? Good. So you just click it that way, just like I'm doing now. You hit on OK, and bingo. It will go through the entire sheet and select within the data range and highlight every figure that is less than 4,000. So immediately I change somebody's salary to 3,999.99. It just reflects the same way, 4,000. Is that not so cool? And that comes in handy when your data is large and you want your attention to be drawn to certain figures. Conditional formatting is one of the cool things. Remember, there is a more advanced way of using it, and that will be taught in our next class. Let's look at the name column. It doesn't only work with only numbers, but also with names. I mean strings, if you remember in the class. I said strings or text. So assuming we select the names and we are saying if any name comes and it contains a certain name, like any name like Gabriel. Anytime somebody's name is added to our list and has Gabriel, we want Excel to draw attention to it so that we can also take a decision. So I just chose Gabriel that I should make it red and bingo. So anywhere there is Gabriel, whether below first name, it will just highlight it without we doing any struggle. Conditional formatting is cool. You can also put multiple conditions on just one particular row or one particular range or cell. In our case, where the figures are, I'm still trying to see whether I can add another You can also go ahead and be practicing at your end, and we are good to go. Here I'm using the data bars. And what the data bars is, it look at the figures within the cell range that you have, and it will just draw some small bar graph within the cell. So the taller the figure, the higher the bar. But always be mindful of totals. Do not include totals, as it will throw you off. The total will always be higher, just like you see in my just example. You can pause the video and also have a look at that again. Let's move on. Good. So let's go back to our conditional format where we still want to try with the data bars, but now we are not selecting the totals. And bingo. So the higher the figure, the taller the bar. That makes it easier for anybody who is trying to have a look at your data. Always be mindful of the colors you choose, as many people are colorblind. Always consider them and choose your colors carefully. There is a science behind that, and that will be taught in our next class. But for the purpose of our class now, let's do this. There was something interesting happen. You can always take off any rule that you have. But I will do again. You can pause the video and just reverse and just go back and see how I did it. And if you don't like any rule, you select that range. You go to conditional formatting, and the options there where you have new rule and clear rule. You hit on clear rule, and you are good to go. Are we good at this point? Fantastic. Let's move on to our next section. Good. Try another condition in our conditional formatting. Let's try with any of the icon sets within where we have the figures, and let's see what it can do for us. So what the icon set is done is, depending on the number of icon sets you choose, like here we have the directional one, it categorizes the figures into maybe 4 or 5, depending on which one you choose, and we'll draw the arrows. So where the let's move on to our next one on the referencing part. There are two main referencing types, the absolute referencing and the relative referencing. But within our data, we are supposed to find the VAT value of each of the salary below. Remember, there are two referencing types in Excel, absolute referencing and relative referencing. Relative referencing change when you copy or you drag. Absolute referencing does not change when you copy or you drag. Keep that in mind. Relative, what did I say? Relative reference changes when you copy or you drag. Absolute reference does not change. And with absolute reference, the only thing that is important here is we introduce $sign as part of the formula or function. $sign, part of the formula or function. Let's give an example. Let's try with a practical one from here. So in cell F4, where we want our VAT value to come, I'm going to start with an equal sign, equal to, I select my salary times the VAT value. The VAT value is G2. So immediately I enter and bingo, I get my VAT value. But something interesting happens here. When I drag, I get 0 for all. But let's go deeper and see. Click cell F2 again. You could see it is making reference to the VAT value. But when I click on cell F6, it is making reference to something other than the VAT value. And that is where I'm getting my mistake from. So what we have to do is to block the cell where we have the VAT value so it doesn't change. Let's give it a try. Equal sign times the cell which is G2. You bring a dollar before the G. That is the column ID, and a dollar before the row ID. That is a 2. So $G, $2. And you hit on enter. Bingo. Nothing really changed. But when you drag, let's see what happens. Wow, fantastic. Now I get my VAT value in the way I expect it to be. And now if you click on one, you see it is still making reference to the VAT value, but changing when it comes to the salary. So the salary one is an relative referencing, and the VAT one that we introduce the dollar is the absolute referencing. Are we good? Thank you. Now pause the video again and just try that one on yourself. Welcome back. Let's see how we do with our if statement. Don't be afraid. If statement plays a key role when you have Excel to do your work. It will really help you do a lot. And the if statement has syntax that it does with. The first part, three syntaxes. The first part or argument, the first part is called the condition or the logical test. The second part is when the value is true or when the condition is met. When the value is true or when the condition is met. And the third part is when the value is false or when the condition is not met. When the value, that will make sense, just relax. I'm going to do a simple practical one, just like we did in class, and you are going to be fine. Are we good? Are we fine? Is anybody having a problem? Just relax. I'm trying to fix my SWI and make it right. So let's move on. Good. We start with an equal sign. Always start a formula function with an equal sign. Then the function name, which is if, and you open parentheses. Remember, it has three. The logical test, the value if true, that is when the condition is met, and the value if false. So let's get started. So what is our condition here? Our condition is if our salary, so I'm selecting cell H4, is below, that is less than, so on your keyboard you hit on less than sign, than 5,000. So that is the condition. If my salary is less than 5,000, comma. Now the second argument, if it is true, what should Excel do when your value is less than 5,000? Multiply that my salary. So I'm selecting H4 by 5%. Then another comma. Then the third argument is if it's not met, multiply that my salary again by 0. As simple as that. Very simple and straightforward. I have my logical test, I have my value if true, all separated by commas. And bingo. So if I drag, as you can see, anyone whose salary is out of that condition will get 0, as you can see. And anyone whose salary is below 5,000 would also be calculated and get 5% as bonus. Let's give it a try again. You can also be trying at your end. If my salary is less than 5,000, comma, multiply my salary, which is the H4 again, by 5%, comma, and if the value is not met, the last argument, multiply my salary by this. You can also put in any kind of test. That here I'm using good luck. But anytime you introduce a test, make sure it is in double quotation, just like I have in my good luck there, when the value is not met. So this time I'm not multiplying by 0, but I say you should tell me good luck. And when you drag, bingo. So if anybody, that condition is not met, it will give you the good luck. Is that not nice? You can pause the video here and you also give it a try at your end. Welcome back. Let's move on to the date values. For the date, if you need today's date, there's a function for today in Excel. It's just equal sign and you write today and you open brackets and you close brackets. If you need today's date and time, that one to use the now function and you are good to go. Remember, always begin a formula with an equal sign. A formula function with an equal sign. So equal to today will give you today's date, and equal to now, brackets open, bracket close, will give you today's date and the time. Here we have the small thing we want to know, how long it took me here. And the best function that comes in handy here is the dated if function. Date def, a date def or dated if. That function helps you to calculate the time in between two dates. Time in between two dates. So dated if, so equal sign, dated if, parentheses open, the previous date, comma, the current date, comma, then you bring your y, which should be in a double quotation, and it will always give you date in years. So between these two periods, it's taken as 5 years. Dated if, parentheses open, the previous date, which is the date of the purchase, the current date, which is D7, the date that the asset was resold, and I want it in years. So I'm going to put in Y, but the Y should always be in double quotation. Are we good? No, pause the video and just practice it at your end. Fantastic. Welcome back. Nice one. Let's see how we can calculate the age of this patient in our hospital. So I'm typing in my today function, which will give me the date as at this very tutorial recording. So today function bracket open bracket close, and it gives me the date as at 27th of November. Let's start with our equal sign where we are calculating the age dated f. That's the function name 1f parenthesis open. Then what is my previous date, which is the date of birth, comma. The current date will be the today's date, so I'm making reference to D12, comma. And as usual, I bring my Y in a double quotation and bingo. Oh, it gives me a certain date. Remember, it is just the format of the cell. So we can go to how we do our cell formatting at the very top of home ribbon, and we can change it from there. So let's give it a try. Select the cell that format is in date. Go there and change it to number or general. And bingo, we have the date in years. Go ahead and replay the video, and you can take it up from there. Good. Okay, now let's remind ourselves of some basic functions that basic statistical functions that we can perform on our data. How to find the lowest value, where you are going to use the main function. And as I'm practicing there, I select the entire range and bingo. I close my parentheses and I'm good. As you can see, I've shown you also how I did it. So if you need the highest value, you can use the max function, which is equal sign max parenthesis open, and you select the data range and you are good to go. As simple as that. If you want to find the average or the mean, as you will say in a mathematics class, you also start with your parent equal sign and equal sign. Always start a formula or a function with an equal sign, just like what I'm coming to do now, and we've been doing all along. Equal sign, average. You select your entire range where you have your figures, and you close your parentheses and you hit enter, and you are good to go. You do the same thing with mean. Equal sign, median, sorry. And Excel will go ahead and find the middle or the number in the center of your data if it is arranged in alphabetical order within a split of a second. In some areas, median plays a key role. Let's see how we can do same if you want to find the third highest or the second highest or the fifth highest. So the third largest, the function that comes in handy is your large. Large will help you to choose which value is, let's see, the fifth, the second there. So in a moment where you have your data and you're trying to select, let's say in a classroom, and you want to know who performed better, or in an HR department, you want to find who performed better, or you want to see the highest value, the second value, and all that, you can just go ahead and use the large function that comes in handy. And the last but not the least, you can use the smallest, and it works the same way. Let's see what we can do quickly with our sum if and count if function. Here I have my data of a store that we all have somewhere in Kumasi in Ghana, and we sell computer accessories. We have so many branches, and I want to know how many computers we sold and what was the total value. The sum if comes in handy, and it gives you sum if, that is sum if only it is monitoring. So sum if only it is monetary. So equal sign, sum if, bracket open. The first argument is the range. So you select the range where the items are. The second argument is your criteria. My criteria here is my monitor within the table. And my third argument is the sum figures. So I select where the figures I'm going to the sum amount, and I am good to go. I drag, and can you imagine it does the magic for me, as simple as that. You can pause the video and give it a try at your end. Welcome back. Now let's see what we can do with count if. Count if helps you to count if only a particular condition is met. So let's say we are counting the number of computers that were sold. So equal sign, count if, parenthesis open. I select my entire column for column D, and I select monitor, bracket close, and I drag. I need you to pause and also try at your end again. Is that so cool? Great. Assuming that we have a mistake in one of our items, Excel can help you do a spell check. Always try that as one of your data cleaning process. You go to your review tab. At the extreme left, you have spellings, and you hit on that. Because you selected a range, Excel will go through the data and show you where you have a spelling mistake, just like I on purpose did for monitor. My name is Gabriel, and I created this content for our class. You can WhatsApp me on this number, and we can take it up from there. Thank you for this class. See you in our next class. Thank you. Bye.